Hey everyone, Amanda Kendall here with True Resolve Tax Professionals. So today I want to talk to you, let's get down to the nitty and gritty of these pennies on the dollar settlements that you hear on the radio and the TV ads. Because the reality of the situation is that very few people actually settle for pennies on the dollar, and very few people actually qualify for this program that's called an offer and compromise. An offer and compromise is, there's this myth out there, I talk to taxpayers all the time, that they think that it is this situation where they owe the IRS money and they can just come up with an amount that they're going to offer to the IRS, and the IRS is going to say yes or no, we'll accept that amount. But that's not the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation is that it is a very calculated mathematical equation to figure out what needs to be offered to the IRS. And you're basically taking a look at your financial net worth. So this is going to be your assets, this is going to be equity that you have, this is going to be your current and future income potential. So you have to take a look at all of these things, pull them all together within the equation that you have to determine the offer and compromise, and actually take a look to see if you qualify. Now, there are certain circumstances where I've worked with taxpayers in the past where they absolutely qualify for an offer and compromise, and we are really talking pennies on the dollar. However, sometimes pennies on the dollar can still be thousands and thousands of dollars. But the other thing you have to figure out is, just because you qualify for an offer and you can settle out for less than what the IRS is stating that you owe, you actually also have to take a look at the affordability of your settlement. So you may be able to settle with the IRS on a $60,000 debt for $15,000, or a $60,000 debt for $15,000, but you only have 2 years to pay that $15,000. If you can't figure out a way to budget that in while staying current with your current tax requirements and all your other financial obligations, then an offer now may not be your best solution. You also have to take a look at, sorry, I had a fuzzball in my face there. You also have to take a look at the options with the IRS as far as basically what I call the tax probation that the IRS is going to put you on once your offer is accepted. So once your offer is accepted, the IRS is going to monitor your account very, very closely for 5 years, 5 filing years. So a couple things. Offer accepted, let's say offer was accepted this month and this month. Your tax return that you file for this year, if you're owed a refund on that, the IRS keeps that. They apply it towards your balance due, and it does not go as credit towards your offered amount. So you're paying whatever you offer plus any refund that you have this tax year. Then, for the following 5 years, every time you file a tax return, it has to be filed on time. You can file an extension, but it still has to be filed on time, and you have to pay your tax debt in full by the deadline. Now, I like to specify there. Deadline, April 15th. Extension to file, not an extension to pay. So you have to make sure that you're keeping very clear that your deadline to pay any tax that you anticipate being due is April 15th, even if you file an extension to file October 15th. So I want to be very clear on that distinction. So you're essentially on probation for 5 years. You file a tax return 1 day late, or you owe $1 single dollar, IRS is going to null and void your offer and compromise, bring all that tax debt right back on you, and you're starting at square one with the statutes starting that day from where they would have ended at the time your offer had been accepted. So it is very, very important to understand when going through and listening to all these ads about these pennies on the dollar settlement, that there is a reality behind that may not necessarily work best for your situation. You may be dealing with a situation where you owe hundreds of thousands of dollars, but your net worth is worth more than what you owe the IRS, and therefore you're not going to qualify. Or your net worth may be less, but you can't afford to make that settlement over the 2-year time frame that you have as a maximum to pay it off, and so therefore by that standard you don't qualify. You may be in a situation where you're not current for the tax year we're in, and so by that standard you don't qualify. So I just want to give a forewarning. The pennies on the dollar settlement, the real name of it is the offer and compromise program with the IRS. Very few taxpayers actually qualify for it. However, if you do, it is a great option. If you're looking at pursuing it and somebody has told you that you qualify for an offer without looking at a single piece of information on your finances and just taking your word for it, take a step back and get a second opinion. Here at True Resolve Tax, I guarantee my offers. If I am submitting an offer in compromise for you, it is because I am 100% confident that based on the information I've reviewed at the time I've reviewed it, that this offer is going to be accepted. So if you have someone telling you you qualify for an offer and you're not sure and you want a second opinion, give me a call. You can reach me at 720-319-8954. You can also reach out to me on my website, www.trueresolvetax.com, and schedule a consultation there. It's called a mini consultation is what you're going to be looking at. That'll give us about 20 minutes together to go through some things and discuss what your next step would be if I think you might qualify for an offer. Or just drop something in the comments below and I'll reach out to you that way. If you found this information helpful, I would greatly appreciate it if you would like this, if you would share it out, show me some love there. Otherwise, have a fabulous day, and I will be on next week again for our Tax Tip Tuesday.